Welcome back to Talk Sarah. I'm really glad you're here today. Before we start, I just want to say something. If you are listening to this in the morning with your cup of tea or coffee, or maybe late at night when everything is quiet, this episode is for you.
And if you're driving, walking, or just lying on your bed staring at the ceiling, same. This one is for you too.
Yeah, ceiling people, we see you. So, Alex, today's topic. I've been thinking about this for a long time, like a really long time.
What is it?
Okay, let me ask you something first. Have you ever started your day with a really good feeling? Like, today I will do it, today I will change.
Oh, yes, all the time.
And then, by 11 in the morning, you're lying on the sofa, watching videos, eating chips.
Sarah, why are you describing my life so perfectly?
Because it happens to almost everyone. And today we want to talk about why that happens. Not to make you feel bad, but to actually understand it.
Right, because understanding something, that's the first step to changing it.
Exactly. So today's episode is about the mind, the deeper part of the mind, the part that runs quietly in the background, like an old program on your phone.
You mean the subconscious mind?
Yes, the subconscious mind. Alex, how would you explain it to someone who has never heard this word before?
Okay, let me think. You know how an iceberg looks in the ocean?
Yeah, the tip is above the water and the huge part is below.
Exactly. Our mind is like that. The small part above the water, that's what we can see, what we think about, what we choose. The giant part below, that's the subconscious.
And the scary thing is, most of our life is controlled by the part we cannot see.
Which is kind of terrifying and also fascinating.
Both at the same time. I read somewhere that around 95% of our daily decisions come from the subconscious mind.
Wait, 95%?
Yes. So the things you eat, the way you react when someone is rude to you, whether you feel confident or not, a lot of that is not really a choice in the moment. It's a pattern, a deep old pattern.
That's honestly a little shocking because we think we are choosing. We think, I decided this.
But actually, something deeper decided for us.
So, where do these patterns come from?
That's the important question. And the answer is mostly childhood.
Oh,
Yeah, the things we heard when we were young, the things people told us about who we are, what we can do, what life is like.
Like if someone always told you you're not good enough.
That message goes inside, deep inside. And years later, even when you're an adult, even when you're smart and capable, there's a quiet voice that still says, you're not good enough.
And you don't even know where it came from.
You just feel it, like a weight.
Can you give an example, a simple one?
Sure, let me tell you about two people. Let's call them Meera and Rahul.
Okay.
Okay, Meera grew up in a house where her parents always said things like, money is hard to get, life is difficult, be careful, don't take risks.
I've heard that kind of thing a lot, actually.
Most of us have. So Meera grew up, she got a job, she's smart, she works hard, but whenever she thinks about starting something of her own, a small business, a project, she feels this deep fear.
Even if she has a good idea?
Even if she has a brilliant idea. The fear is not about the idea. The fear is the old programming. Risk is bad. Play safe. You might lose everything.
And Rahul?
Rahul's father always said, if you want something, go and get it. You might fall, but you will learn.
Nice.
So Rahul also has fears. He also has doubts sometimes, but when he feels fear, he thinks, okay, what can I do here? How do I try carefully?
He doesn't let the fear stop him completely.
Right. Same world, same challenges, different programming inside.
That's actually quite deep.
And the beautiful thing is that programming can be changed.
Really?
Really, that's what this whole episode is about.
Okay, so before we get into how to change it, I want to ask you something personal.
Sure, go ahead.
Have you ever felt stuck, like you knew what you wanted, but something inside kept pulling you back?
Um, yes, actually, yeah, definitely. There was a time when I really wanted to start this podcast, Talk Sarah.
And you were scared?
I was terrified. I kept thinking, who is going to listen to me? What do I have to say that's special? Other people are smarter, other people have better voices. Why would anyone care?
Those thoughts sound very familiar.
I think most people have heard those thoughts, and I kept waiting until I was ready.
And were you ever ready?
No, I just started. One day I just said, okay, this fear, it's not based on anything real. It's just a story I'm telling myself.
A story from the subconscious.
Exactly. An old story that wasn't even mine, really. It was made of pieces, things people said, things I saw, old fears. And once I understood that, it was easier to move.
You didn't lose the fear, you just didn't obey it.
That's a beautiful way to say it. Okay, so let's talk about the practical part, because I know a lot of people listening are thinking, okay, this is interesting, but what do I actually do?
Yes, that's the question.
And I want to be honest about something here. There is no one single method that works for everyone.
Really?
Really, we are all different. Our stories are different. Our minds are different. What works for me might not work for you in the same way.
So it's not like a recipe.
Not exactly. It's more like cooking with ingredients that you choose based on what you like. The ingredients are the same, but how you use them, that's personal.
I like that.
So let's talk about some of those ingredients. The first one, and this might sound simple, but it's actually very deep, is understanding yourself, your patterns, your beliefs.
How do you do that?
One really good way is writing. Not a long essay, just simple notes. When a negative thought comes, write it down. I can't do this, I'm not smart enough, no one will like my work. Write it. Don't push it away.
Because if you write it, you see it more clearly.
Yes, when a thought is only in your head, it feels huge, like a monster in the dark. When you write it down, you can look at it. And sometimes you realize, this thought has no proof. There's no real reason to believe this.
The monster gets smaller in the light.
Exactly. And this is actually what some researchers say too. When we write about our experiences, we understand ourselves better. We can start to see our own patterns.
Like watching yourself from outside.
Right. A little distance, a little clarity. The second thing I want to talk about is something that most people don't think about in terms of the mind, and that's dopamine.
Oh, the pleasure chemical.
Yes, but let me explain it simply. Okay, so imagine you have two types of activities in your life. Some activities give you pleasure very fast, very quickly, like scrolling on your phone, watching one more episode of a show, eating something sweet.
Oh yes, those feel so good in the moment.
Exactly. The brain loves fast pleasure. It's designed to want those things.
And the other type?
The other type gives you pleasure slowly, learning a new skill, building something, working towards a goal. These things don't feel exciting in the moment. They can feel boring even, hard,
But the results are better in the long run.
much better. And here's the problem. If we keep giving our brain the fast pleasure over and over, our brain gets used to it. It stops finding the slow, meaningful things interesting.
It's like eating sugar all day and then vegetables don't taste good anymore.
That's a perfect comparison. So, one of the most powerful things you can do is to gently reduce the fast pleasure habits. Not completely, not all at once, but just a little. Create some space.
Space for what?
Space for your mind to breathe, to think, to want the deeper things again.
Because when you're always stimulated, you can't hear your own thoughts.
Exactly. And this is when you start to make better decisions, better choices for your life.
Okay, I want to ask something here because sometimes people hear this and they feel guilty. Like, oh no, I scroll too much, I watch too many shows, I'm ruining my brain, and then they feel bad about themselves.
Yes, that's a real thing, and I want to address it. Please don't use this information to punish yourself.
Right.
This is not about being perfect. It's not about being a monk. It's just about being a little more intentional.
Small shifts.
Small shifts, that's all. One less hour of mindless scrolling, one more hour of something that actually matters to you.
You're not throwing away the phone, you're just using it differently.
Exactly. The third thing I want to talk about is something that is very, very old, and sometimes people think it's too simple to be powerful, but I believe it is one of the most powerful things we can do.
What is it?
Gratitude.
Hmm.
I know, some people hear that word and they roll their eyes. Oh, gratitude, I've heard that 1,000 times.
But there's something real to it, isn't there?
There really is. Think about this. When we wake up in the morning, what's the first thing most of us do?
Check our phones.
And what do we see?
Bad news, problems, people arguing, things to worry about.
So before we've even had breakfast, our mind is already in a negative space.
And then the whole day feels heavy.
Yes. Now imagine this instead. You wake up, before you look at your phone, you take just 2 minutes and you think about 3 things that are okay in your life right now. They don't have to be big things.
Like what?
Like, I woke up today. My body is breathing. I have a roof over my head. Maybe someone in my family is healthy. Maybe I have a friend who cares about me. Maybe yesterday I did one small thing that I'm proud of.
Simple things.
Very simple. But when you do this regularly, something changes, very slowly, very quietly.
What changes?
The feeling of your day changes. You start to notice that there are actually good things around you, not because life becomes perfect, but because you're looking differently.
You're training your brain to look for the good.
Yes, because whatever you look for, you find more of. If you look for problems, you find problems everywhere. If you look for reasons to be grateful, you find those too.
That's actually quite beautiful.
And this is not fake positivity. It's not pretend everything is fine. It's more like clearing the soil so that good things can grow.
You can't plant flowers in a ground full of rocks.
Exactly. Gratitude clears the ground.
Can I share something here?
Please.
There was a time in my life when everything felt really heavy. I was stressed about work, I felt like I was going nowhere, and someone told me to try this gratitude thing, writing 3 good things every night before sleeping. And I thought, this is silly. This is too small for my problems.
But you tried it?
I tried it, reluctantly. And the first few days, nothing special. I wrote my 3 things, felt a bit forced. But after about 2 weeks, I noticed that I was sleeping a little better, and I was slightly less irritated during the day.
Slightly is enough.
Right? Like, I was still stressed. My problems hadn't disappeared, but I had a little more patience, a little more hope.
And that little more changes everything. Because when you have just a little more patience, you make better decisions. When you have a little more hope, you try a little harder.
And slowly things start to shift.
Slowly. That word is so important. We want fast change. We want to wake up tomorrow and be a different person.
But that's not how it works.
No, but slowly works. Let's talk about visualization now, because this one is really interesting and also sometimes misunderstood.
Yeah, people hear visualization and they think it's just daydreaming.
And in a way it is, but intentional daydreaming, purposeful.
How do you do it?
So think about something you really want in your life. Not something you should want, something you genuinely, deeply want. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's finishing your studies. Maybe it's feeling more confident in conversations.
Okay.
Now, close your eyes and imagine it's already happened. Don't imagine I'm trying to get there. Imagine I'm there. What does it look like? What are you wearing? Who is around you? How does it feel in your body?
That sensory part is important, isn't it?
Very important, the feeling, because your subconscious mind doesn't understand the difference between a real event and a deeply imagined one.
Wait, really?
Scientists have found this. When you vividly imagine doing something, the same parts of your brain activate as when you actually do it.
That's wild.
So, when you keep showing your subconscious a clear picture of where you want to go, it starts working towards that. It starts looking for opportunities, making connections.
Like programming a GPS.
Oh, I love that. Yes, exactly like a GPS. You enter the destination, the GPS doesn't worry about every road. It just starts guiding you.
And the subconscious mind becomes your GPS.
But only if you give it a clear destination. Now, here's where it gets personal again. Different people visualize differently. Some people are very visual. They can close their eyes and see pictures clearly.
Some people can't do that at all.
Right, and that's okay. If you're someone who learns better by hearing things, record your own voice. Record yourself describing your future. I have done this. I feel this way. I am here. And listen to it every morning.
Oh, that's interesting. Like a message to yourself from the future.
Exactly. And if you're someone who learns by writing, write it. Write your future in present tense. I wake up feeling excited. I am doing work I love. I am healthy and calm. Read it every day.
So there's no one right way.
There's no one right way. There's only the way that works for you, and you only find that by trying.
I want to ask you something now about affirmations, because I've heard people say, I am amazing, I am powerful, I am a winner. And honestly, it sounds a little uncomfortable.
I know. For some people, it feels very unnatural, like you're lying to yourself.
Yes, exactly. It feels fake.
And if it feels fake, it doesn't work, because your subconscious mind is very smart. It knows when you don't believe something.
So what do you do instead?
You start smaller, more honest. Instead of, I am a millionaire when you have very little money, you say something like, I am learning every day. I am growing. I am capable of more than I know right now.
That feels more true.
It is more true. And because it feels true, it actually goes in.
The mind accepts it.
Yes, the door is open. And there's something really powerful about saying these things to yourself while looking in the mirror.
People think that's strange.
I know, but there's a reason it works. When you look at yourself in the mirror, your self-awareness is much higher. You're not just saying words, you're looking into your own eyes while you say them. Something happens there, something real.
It's harder to escape from it.
Yes, you can't hide. You're right there, face to face with yourself.
I feel like I need to try this tonight.
Just try it, even for 30 seconds. See how it feels.
So, Sarah, let's talk about the practical plan, because I think some people are listening and they're thinking, this is all really good, but where do I start?
Right, and this is important because sometimes we hear a lot of good things and then we feel overwhelmed. Should I meditate? Should I journal? Should I do affirmations? Should I visualize? And then we do nothing because we don't know where to begin.
The list becomes too long.
So, here's what I suggest. Start with just one thing.
Just one.
Just one for 21 days.
Why 21 days?
There's actually a really interesting story behind this. A doctor who did plastic surgery noticed something. When people had an operation, a new nose, a different chin, it took them about 21 days to stop feeling strange when they looked in the mirror. 21 days to accept the new as normal.
The brain needed 21 days to update its picture.
Exactly. And from that observation, many researchers and teachers found that 21 days is often enough to begin building a new habit, not to finish it, but to start it properly.
So you don't need a whole new life plan, just 21 days of one thing.
One thing, consistently. Maybe it's the gratitude habit. 3 things every morning. Maybe it's 5 minutes of quiet breathing. Maybe it's writing your thoughts in a small notebook.
Something small enough that you can actually do it.
Because a small thing that you actually do is 1,000 times better than a big plan you never start.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And while you're doing this, there's one more thing I want to mention. A question to ask yourself.
What question?
How do I know if it's working? Because some people start these practices and after a few days they think, I don't feel different. Nothing is changing. Maybe this isn't for me.
And they stop.
And they stop right before things were about to shift.
So what are the signs that something is actually changing inside?
The first sign is small. You start to notice your own thoughts a little more. Like before, a negative thought would come and you would just believe it, just go with it. But now, sometimes you catch it. Wait, that thought is not actually true. Where is that coming from?
Like a little bell rings.
Yes, a small alert. And you notice, that awareness, that's the beginning of change.
What's the second sign?
You start to take very small risks, things you would have avoided before. Maybe you raise your hand in a meeting when normally you would stay quiet. Maybe you start a conversation with someone new. Maybe you send one email that you've been afraid to send for weeks.
It doesn't have to be a huge leap.
No, it's a tiny step, a tiny, brave step. And when you notice yourself doing that, even once, that's your subconscious mind shifting.
And the third sign?
This one is my favorite. You feel a little lighter. Not every day, not perfectly, but sometimes in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday, you feel okay. Actually okay.
Yeah.
Your happiness percentage goes up just a little. And that small increase, that matters so much. Because when you feel even a little better, you think a little clearer. When you think more clearly, you make better decisions. When you make better decisions, your life slowly improves.
It's like a cycle, but a good one.
A good cycle, instead of the bad cycle that many of us are stuck in.
Can we talk for a second about the people who feel like it's too late for them?
Oh, yes.
Because I know there are people listening who are 30, 40, maybe older, and they think, my patterns are too old. My habits are too deep. It's too late to change.
It's not too late. The brain, even an adult brain, can change. Scientists have a word for this, neuroplasticity. It means the brain can form new connections, new pathways, at any age.
Any age?
Any age. It might take a little longer. It might need a little more patience, but it is possible.
And actually, maybe adults have an advantage, because when you're older, you understand yourself better. You know more about your patterns.
That's such a good point. A child can't look at their behavior and say, oh, this is my limiting belief, but an adult can. An adult can say, I see what I do, I understand why, and I choose differently now.
That's actually a kind of power.
It is. Awareness is power. Alex, we've been talking for a while now. Before we close today's episode, I want to go back to something simple.
Okay.
Earlier, we talked about Mira and how her old programming was holding her back. But here's the part of the story I didn't tell. Mira, at age 29, decided to try something different. She started writing just little notes about her thoughts. She started saying 3 good things about her day before sleeping. She started listening to a recording of her own voice, describing the life she wanted.
And
it wasn't fast. Nothing dramatic happened in the first month. But slowly, she started noticing her fear in a new way, not as the truth, as a habit.
the fear was still there, but she stopped obeying it automatically.
Exactly. And one day, about 6 months later, she applied for something she had always been afraid to try, a small grant for a small project she had dreamed about.
Did she get it?
She did. And the project wasn't perfect. Things went wrong, she made mistakes, but she did it. She started.
The old Mira would have never even applied.
The old Mira would have found 100 reasons not to. What if I fail? What if people laugh? What if it's not good enough?
But the new Mira had different patterns inside.
Gently, quietly, carefully changed patterns.
You know what I love about that story? It's not a Hollywood story. It's not she changed in one moment and became a millionaire.
No.
It's just a real person making a small shift, and then another, and another.
And that's what real change looks like. It doesn't look like a movie. It looks like a Tuesday morning where you do the thing you were afraid to do.
While still being afraid.
While still being afraid, just doing it anyway. Okay, let's come to a close. Before we go, I always want to leave you with something practical, something you can actually do today. Not tomorrow, today.
One thing.
One thing. Tonight, before you sleep, take your phone, open the Notes app, or take a small piece of paper and write this. 3 things that were okay today. They can be tiny. The tea was good this morning. Someone smiled at me. I finished one small task. Just 3 things.
And you're starting the practice.
You're starting. That's it. That's the whole task for today.
And then tomorrow?
Tomorrow you do it again, and the next day, and the next. And after 21 days, you check in with yourself. How do I feel? Am I noticing more? Am I a tiny bit lighter?
I love this. Simple, real, possible.
Possible is my favorite word. Alex, thank you for being here today. Thank you for asking the right questions, for sharing your own story.
Thank you, Sarah. This conversation gave me a lot to think about, honestly.
And to everyone who listened today, thank you. Really, I know your time is valuable. I know your life is busy and sometimes hard. And the fact that you spent this time today thinking about yourself, thinking about your mind, that already says something.
That says you care about your own growth. That matters.
It really does. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep moving. One small step, one quiet morning, one honest note to yourself. That's enough to begin. This is Talk Sarah. Take care of your mind, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next episode.